My girlfriend demanded. Give me your phone password or we're done. I said, we're done then. She was shocked I chose privacy. Then she broke into my phone anyway using my fingerprint while I slept. When I found out and reported it to police as unauthorized device access. I, 28 male, work as a network security analyst for a mid-size IT firm. I mention this because it's basically the entire reason this story exists. When your literal job is understanding digital security, you tend to take your personal privacy pretty seriously. Not because you're hiding anything, because you understand what access means. I've been dating my girlfriend for about 14 months. Things were solid. We did Sunday morning farmers markets. She got along with my dog. I got along with her weird obsession with collecting vintage postcards. Normal couple stuff. No major red flags. Or so I thought. It started on a random Wednesday night. We were on her couch watching some Netflix true crime thing, and she suddenly paused it and turned to me with this expression I'd never seen before. Like she'd been rehearsing something in her head for hours. I need your phone password. Not a question. A statement. I looked at her and almost laughed because I genuinely thought she was joking. Why? Because if you have nothing to hide, it shouldn't be a problem. I put my water down. I don't have anything to hide. But I'm also not giving you my phone password. She stared at me like I just told her I was secretly 3 raccoons in a trench coat. Excuse me. My phone has work stuff on it. Client data. Security credentials. I literally can't give anyone access to it. It's in my employment agreement. I'm not anyone. I'm your girlfriend. I understand that. But the answer's still no. That's when her voice changed. Got this cold, flat quality to it. If you can't give me your phone password, then we're done. I'm serious. I'm not dating someone who keeps secrets from me. I sat there for about 10 seconds. I won't lie. Part of me wanted to just hand it over to avoid the fight. 14 months is 14 months. But here's what people don't understand. This wasn't about the password. This was an ultimatum. And in my experience, the person who gives you one ultimatum will give you 50 more. Okay, I said. Then I guess we're done. Her face went through about 6 different emotions in 2 seconds. Shock, confusion, anger, back to shock. She clearly expected me to fold immediately. You're seriously choosing a password over our relationship? You're seriously ending a relationship over a password? I sat back. She called me controlling and paranoid and about 4 other things I tuned out. Then she stormed into her bedroom. I grabbed my jacket, called my dog from the kitchen where he'd been hiding from the yelling, and left. The next morning, I woke up to a dozen texts. Some angry, some apologetic, some just question marks. I responded to one. I think we should take some space and talk in a few days when we both cooled down. She replied, fine, but this isn't over. Now here's where I messed up. About 4 days later, she showed up at my apartment with takeout from my favorite Thai place and this really convincing apology. Said she'd been stressed about something at work, that her ex had cheated on her, and it triggered old insecurities, that she understood my work situation and respected my boundaries. She cried a little. I'm not made of stone. We got back together. For about 3 weeks, everything seemed normal again. Better than normal, actually. She was being extra sweet, extra attentive. Cooking dinner at my place, leaving little notes in my lunch bag. I thought we'd actually work through something. Then one Tuesday morning, I picked up my phone to check my email before work and noticed something. See, I have a security app. It's basically a monitoring tool that logs any biometric access attempts on my device. I installed it years ago because I test security software for a living, and I like knowing what's happening on my own hardware. There were 11 access logs from between 2:14 a.m. and 3:47 a.m. All fingerprint authenticated. All successful. She'd used my fingerprint while I was sleeping. I felt this weird calm wash over me. Not anger, just clarity. Like when you finally solve a problem you've been stuck on at work. I scrolled through the access logs. She'd gone through my texts, my email, my photos, my banking app. She'd even opened my work VPN client, which, and I cannot stress this enough, contains access credentials to client networks that I am legally and contractually obligated to protect. I didn't say a word to her that morning. Made coffee, kissed her goodbye, went to work, and then I called a lawyer. Update 1, 5 days later. So I need to catch y'all up because things escalated faster than I expected. First, A lot of people asked why I went straight to a lawyer instead of just confronting her. Fair question. Here's why. My work VPN was accessed. That's not a relationship problem. That's a professional liability. If my company found out someone unauthorized accessed client networks through my credentials, I could lose my job, face legal action from clients, and potentially end my career in cybersecurity. I wasn't being dramatic. I was covering myself. My lawyer, older guy, very no-nonsense, clearly seen it all, told me I had a legitimate case for unauthorized access under my state's computer crime statute. He said that using someone's biometric data without consent to access a locked device is legally equivalent to using a stolen key to enter a locked room. The fact that we were dating didn't matter. Consent to sleep in someone's bed is not consent to access their devices. He also told me something I didn't expect, that I should file a report with police before doing anything else, because if my company discovered the breach independently and I hadn't reported it, it would look like I was complicit. So I went to the police station that afternoon. And let me tell you, the officer at the front desk looked at me like I was wasting his time. I explained the situation. My girlfriend used my fingerprint while I was asleep to unlock my phone and access work-related security credentials without my knowledge or consent. He literally said, "So, your girlfriend looked at your phone?" I said, "She accessed a device containing protected client network credentials using my biometric data without authorization. I work in cybersecurity. This is a data breach." Different energy after that. They took a report. I gave them the access logs, timestamps, everything. The officer who actually handled the report was more professional, took it seriously, but I could tell there was still this undercurrent of, "Dude, really?" It's frustrating, but I expected it. That same evening, I went to my girlfriend's apartment to break up with her. For real this time. No takeout ambush was going to fix this. When I told her what I knew, she didn't even deny it. She actually laughed. "Are you kidding me right now? I checked your phone. That's what you're upset about. You used my fingerprint while I was unconscious. Oh my God, you make it sound like I committed a crime." You did commit a crime. I filed a police report this afternoon. The laugh died. You what? You accessed my work credentials. My client's data could be compromised. My job could be at risk. This isn't about reading my texts. She went pale, then red. Then she started crying and saying I was overreacting, that she only looked because she loved me and was scared of losing me, that she didn't touch anything work-related, the log said otherwise, that I was ruining her life over nothing. I told her we were done. She begged me to withdraw the report. I told her I couldn't do that even if I wanted to, which I didn't. She called me a psycho. I left. Now here's where her family enters the chat. Within 24 hours, I got a call from her mother. I met this woman maybe 5 times. She called me honey and told me that couples go through little bumps and that filing a police report against the woman you love is not how a real man handles things. I said, "Ma'am, your daughter accessed restricted corporate data through my phone. This is a legal matter." She said, and I quote, "Well, maybe you shouldn't leave your phone lying around if it's so important." I hung up. Then her brother called. This guy is the walking definition of, "I peaked in high school football." Told me I needed to man up and squash this, and that I was making the whole family look bad. When I didn't immediately agree, he switched to thinly veiled threats. Nothing specific enough to report, just a lot of "you don't want problems with me" energy. I told him if he contacted me again, I'd file for a restraining order. He called me a snitch and hung up. Meanwhile, at work, I had to sit down with my direct manager and our company security officer and explain what happened. That was genuinely one of the worst conversations of my life. I came prepared, police report number, access logs, timeline, my lawyer's contact info. I was transparent about everything. My manager was surprisingly decent about it. The security officer was less warm. They launched an internal audit to determine if any client data was actually viewed or compromised. I was put on a temporary restricted access protocol, which basically meant I had to have a supervisor co-sign any client system access for the next 2 weeks. Humiliating, but I understood it. But here's the thing that really got me. 3 days after the breakup, a mutual friend sent me a screenshot. My ex had posted a long story on her social media, not naming me directly, but making it extremely obvious about how her toxic ex reported her to the police for looking at his phone and how she was being criminalized for caring too much. She framed the whole thing as this empowerment narrative. How she refused to let a man make her feel like a criminal for trusting her intuition. The comments were wild. Hundreds of people calling me controlling and abusive. Her friends were tagging each other going, "OMG, I knew he was weird." A few people who didn't even know either of us were writing paragraphs about how men who hide their phones are always guilty. Not gonna lie, that one stung. Because nobody knew the full story. Nobody knew about the work credentials. Nobody knew about the biometric access at 3 a.m. They just saw girlfriend checks boyfriend's phone, boyfriend calls cops, and made their judgment. But I didn't respond publicly. My lawyer told me not to, so I just sat with it. Update 2, 3 weeks later. All right, a lot happened. Buckle up. First, the work situation. The internal audit came back and confirmed that while my VPN client had been opened, no client systems were actually accessed beyond the login portal. Basically, she opened the app, but didn't get further because the client environments require a secondary authentication token that lives on a separate hardware key I keep in my work bag. So the actual damage was minimal. My company decided not to pursue independent legal action, which was a massive relief. My restricted access was lifted, and my manager told me off the record that he respected how I'd handled it. Now the legal stuff. My ex got a visit from a detective about a week after I filed the report. From what my lawyer later told me, she apparently treated it like a joke at first. Told the detective she was just checking up on her boyfriend, and that this happens in every relationship. The detective informed her that unauthorized biometric access to a secure device is a misdemeanor under state law, and that the presence of protected corporate data elevated the seriousness. She hired a lawyer. Her lawyer contacted my lawyer, trying to negotiate. Their position was basically, she's a young woman with no criminal record. This was a relationship misunderstanding, and pursuing charges would be disproportionate. My lawyer forwarded me their letter, and I almost choked on my coffee when I read the line. Our client believed she had implied consent to access the device, given the intimate nature of the relationship. Implied consent, because we were dating. Let that sink in. My lawyer responded that there was no implied consent, that I had explicitly refused to share my phone password weeks prior, making my privacy expectations clear, and that using someone's biometric data while they're unconscious is the opposite of consent. Now, and this is important, I wasn't trying to send her to prison. I'm not a monster, but I needed this on record for my job, and I needed her to understand that what she did had real consequences. My lawyer recommended we cooperate with the DA's office, but expressed that I wasn't pushing for maximum penalties. I agreed. The DA ended up offering her a plea deal, a misdemeanor charge, no jail time, 12 months of probation, a mandatory digital privacy course, and a small fine. Pretty standard for a first offense. Honestly, it was a slap on the wrist. She rejected it. Her lawyer apparently advised her to take it. Her mother apparently told her to fight it because no daughter of mine is going to have a record because some man couldn't handle a strong woman. Her brother was apparently telling everyone who'd listen that I was going to get what was coming to me. The entitlement in that family was like a load-bearing wall. You couldn't remove it without the whole structure collapsing. So she went to trial. Or rather, she requested a trial date, which meant this whole thing dragged on. During this period, the harassment ramped up. Not from her directly. She was smart enough or scared enough to stay away. But her circle? Oh boy. Her best friend created a burner account and started messaging my coworkers on LinkedIn. Not threatening messages, but concerned ones. Things like, "Hey, just thought you should know the kind of person you work with." He had his girlfriend arrested for looking at his phone. My coworker in the next cubicle actually showed me one of these messages with his eyebrows at his hairline. I documented every single one. Screenshots, timestamps, the whole thing. My lawyer added them to a growing file. Then her mother did something genuinely unhinged. She showed up at my apartment building's lobby. Not my actual unit. She didn't have access but the lobby. She sat there for almost 2 hours waiting for me. When I came home from work and saw her sitting there on the bench by the mailboxes, I immediately pulled out my phone and started recording. "We need to talk about this like adults," she said. Ma'am, your daughter has a pending criminal case against her. You should not be here. She's my child, and you're destroying her life over a phone. I'm going to ask you to leave. You know what your problem is? You don't understand what love means. When you love someone, you don't have secrets. My husband and I shared everything for 32 years. Ma'am, I'm calling building security. Go ahead. Call whoever you want. You're good at calling people, aren't you? Calling the cops on a girl who loved you. What kind of man does that? Building security escorted her out. I filed another report, and my lawyer sent a cease and desist to the entire family. Her mother, her brother, her best friend, all of them. The brother responded to the cease and desist by texting me from a new number. Lawyers don't scare me, bro, real talk. Drop this or things get real. I forwarded it to my lawyer and the detective on the case. That text, combined with the lobby incident and the LinkedIn messages, led to the detective having a very direct conversation with the family about witness intimidation and harassment charges. They went quiet after that. Finally, update 3, final 2 months later. So the trial happened. Kind of. 2 days before the court date, her lawyer contacted mine and said she wanted to take the plea deal after all. Apparently, the reality of actually standing in front of a judge and explaining why she used her sleeping boyfriend's fingerprint to break into his phone at 3 a.m. had finally sunk in. Or more likely, her lawyer told her she was going to lose and it would be worse than the deal. The judge accepted the plea. Misdemeanor conviction, 12 months probation, the digital privacy course, a $1,500 fine, and this was added because of the family's behavior, a no-contact order covering her, her mother, and her brother. The judge apparently had some pointed words about the defendant support system that I wish I could have heard in person, but my lawyer relayed them with obvious enjoyment. Now let me tell you about the part that actually mattered to me, because it wasn't the courtroom stuff. About a week before the plea, my company's security officer called me into his office. I thought I was about to get fired. Instead, he told me that the way I'd handled the whole situation, the immediate documentation, the police report, the transparency with the company had actually impressed the leadership team. He said most employees in my position would have tried to hide the breach, and that my response demonstrated exactly the kind of security-first mindset they wanted in their organization. They offered me a promotion. Senior security analyst, with a team of 3 reporting to me, and a raise that made my eyes water a little. I started the following Monday. So yeah, my ex violated my privacy, my trust, and potentially my career. She chose to fight the consequences instead of accepting them. Her family chose intimidation over reflection. And in the end, the thing she tried to destroy, my professional reputation, is the thing that actually got stronger. The no-contact order is in effect for a year. The probation means she has to stay clean for 12 months. The misdemeanor is on a record. Her best friend's LinkedIn harassment is documented in case she tries anything similar in the future. Do I feel great about all of this? Honestly, no, not entirely. There are moments where I think about those early months when things were good. The farmer's market mornings. The way she'd steal my hoodies and refuse to give them back. The way she'd text me random facts about vintage postcards like I cared. I actually kind of did. That person, or the version of her I thought I knew, I miss her sometimes. But the person who manipulated my unconscious body to access my phone at 3 a.m., the person whose family threatened me and harassed my coworkers, the person who tried to make me the villain for protecting my livelihood, that person made her choices. And choices have consequences. I changed my biometric settings to require both fingerprint and a PIN for full access. I sleep with my phone in my nightstand drawer now, which is probably healthy anyway. My dog doesn't seem to have an opinion on any of this, which tracks. A few of the mutual friends who saw her social media post and originally sided with her have reached out after learning more details. Some apologized. Some just awkwardly liked my post without saying anything. One guy, someone I'd actually considered a close friend, sent me a 3-paragraph text that basically amounted to, "I should have asked for your side before making assumptions." I appreciated that one. I'm not dating anyone right now. Not because I'm bitter. I'm just busy with a new role. And honestly, after everything, I've learned that my boundaries aren't negotiable. Not for takeout. Not for tears. Not for ultimatums. If you're reading this and someone tells you that wanting privacy means you have something to hide, that person is telling you who they are. Listen, that's it. That's the whole story. Thanks for sticking with me through this one.